Hi, Russell Cummings here. Just wanted to take you through one of the more powerful tools that you've got in our business toolkit. It's called a strategic SWOT. Now, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And normally what you do with a SWOT analysis is you brainstorm a whole heap of strengths, strengths that aren't really strengths but all feel good stuff. We brainstorm about 100 weaknesses because we like to flagellate ourselves a bit and be a bit hard on ourselves. We normally come up with opportunities we can't possibly take advantage of, and then a whole heap of threats like alien abduction and other things that really aren't threats but could possibly be a threat maybe one day. And then we do nothing with it. We normally put that SWOT analysis as an appendix on our business plan and say we've done one. What we prefer to do is with SWOT is make it a bit more strategic. So what we do is say a couple of big changes. The first one is strengths and weaknesses are internal only. So we're looking within the company, within the business unit, the department, within yourself, whatever it is that you're looking at, and say, what are our real competitive strengths and weaknesses? So in terms of competitive strengths, one of the common ones I get all the time is, we've got a great team. And so, easily if you see the strengths on the example in front of you, we could have had, great team, good staff members, whatever. But what I find is that if I went to your competition and said to them, tell us about the quality of your team, they're not going to say they've got a lousy team. They're going to say they've got a good team as well. Now, what is it about your team that sets it apart? So in this case, I've said, the example is that our team, we have really good industry knowledge. Okay, so that's one of our strengths. So I want you to be quite strategic about them. Same with weaknesses. What are the real weaknesses? My rule of thumb is 7. Okay, any more than 7 strengths or weaknesses, and same with opportunities and threats, but any more than 7 and you're probably being a little bit easy or a bit too hard on yourself. Okay, so be really, really hard and objective and say, is that really a strength of ours? Is it a real strength or just a nice to know thing? Okay, so that's the first change. Strengths and weakness internal. Now, opportunities and threats are external, and they're not the actual opportunity or the threat. They are the external factors that are acting upon our business that could give rise to an opportunity or a threat. So things like mobile internet, social media, various dietary trends, whole heap of things, the latest fads, all that sort of stuff. So the examples here I'll put down, mobile internet, wellness trends, the Asia Free Trade Agreements, low Australian dollars could give rise to opportunities for us. And some of the threats could also give rise to opportunities. So I'm not really concerned which box they go in as long as they get down. So think about what are the external factors acting on you. So don't write the opportunity down here. The opportunity is not to investigate exports into China. Yeah, that's an action that drops out of the opportunity, and the opportunity comes because we have a free trade agreement, or there's rising middle class demand in China, or whatever the external factors you are. And now you may want to do something like a pest analysis to give you some coverage of the factors. So pest analysis is political, economic, social and technological factors, so you can look at those. So that simple pest analysis can help you if you're struggling to come up with any of the factors. Once we've got the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, then quite simply we just sit down and say, okay, how do we leverage our strengths? Yeah, I'll take you through this in a bit more detail in just a second. So how do we maximize our strengths? How do we minimize our weaknesses? How do we take advantage of our opportunities? And what I want you to do is come up with action statements. So come up with action statements like leverage clients using social media, with social media, engage the team for more change, leverage off the health benefits of our regional location. So make them action statements. So they start with a doing word. Okay, so make sure they start with a doing word or verb that gives you some sort of action. Okay, so we're going to come up with a series of actions. What we can then do is group those actions into like areas, and if you've got enough of them, you can give that area a name. So we group them into a whole heap of things, and they're typically around marketing, efficiency, people, customers, finance, whatever. So there you get some easy things. You can give that a name. So just to recap, so the process is clearly define the entity under review and why we're doing it. So just be clear on what it is. So if we're going to have strengths and weaknesses, make sure we're clear what it is. Make sure you've done some of the where things beforehand. So if you're doing it for your business, make sure you do your strategic SWOT, not at the start, because we want to have strengths relative to what. So if we want to grow our business to be $1 billion business, what are our strengths? They will be different if we want to grow it to $1 million business. Okay, so do your where first. So brainstorm your competitive SWOT factors. Be clear on what the rules are. Keep them as low as possible. Yeah, and then you develop those action statements. So you develop those action statements to maximize your strengths, minimize your weaknesses. How do we use our strengths to exploit opportunities? How do we use our strengths to overcome our threats? How do we protect ourselves where our weaknesses and threats combine? Okay. Now, there's only 4 boxes in that model. What I often do is just don't have the 4 boxes in the middle, just have one big box and just start listing all these things. Also, it doesn't really matter where things go. You don't have to be too particular about where they go as long as they get written down. Okay, it's a brainstorming exercise. Once we've done that, then we Pareto them or group them up into actions, and Pareto them, pick the 20% that's going to work for us and create action plans around those. But the important thing is get those action statements. If you need to, group them up into like areas so you've got some commonality and you can see some flow between them, and then use the Pareto principle. Which 20% of these things, which 3 or 4 things, if we did them, would give us 80% of the outcome that we're looking for, and focus on those and develop some action plans around them. All right, just some quick tips. So be really strategic. So is this competitive? Is it a real strength? Is it a real weakness? So no more than 7 items in each category. Why 7? 5's too few, 10's too many, but just think about it. Make sure you ask yourself the hard questions. Write that. And remember, strengths and weaknesses are internal. Opportunities and threats are the external factors acting upon the under examination. They're not the actions you'll take, because you're going to brainstorm those actions. Okay, so really, that's enough for strategic SWOT. It's a very powerful tool. Practice it and use it. You can use it in a variety of situations, but it's a great tool when you want a group of people or just yourself to understand, when you understand where we're going to go and you say, what are our strengths and our weaknesses relative to that target or that objective for our business? What are the opportunities and threats that are going to act upon us? And therefore, what are the actions we're going to take to address our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Very, very powerful. It's really the how step, the very powerful how step in the now, where, how model. Okay, any questions, please give me a call, flick me an email, and we can talk some more. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.